Hey there. So I hadn't done one of these in a while, but I'm going to do a little short video, hopefully short video, on the terrain I used for session 70 of our Castles and Crusades campaign. So we'll start off over here. This was the first board I used. This is the board itself is just some insulation foam, much like this green stuff here that I just carved on and textured. This base is also insulation foam that I carved on and textured with some added bits. These little decorative pillar bits on the side are actually cast from dental plaster and using Herstart molds. The buildings are a combination of resin printed, 3D printed, and Warlock tiles. So like this big building here is a 3D printed building that I painted, as are the blacksmith shop, and that little rack is also 3D printed. This one here is from Tabletop World. It is one of two of those I have. Actually haven't painted the other one, but I painted this one up a long time ago for... Actually painted it in one day, which was a record time for me, so I needed it for a game I was running, so I got it painted in a day. And this is Warlock tiles. And how some of this came about, this build design, which I'll get into when I get in the next board, is a lot of times I prefer like the resin and 3D printed buildings when I'm doing exterior stuff, like fights in the streets, which took place. I really like how they look. And part of me putting terrain on the board is the presentation of it. That's where I get the juice from it. So I like that. But when it comes to interiors, there's some out there. I don't have too much that would work. But like you can do some stuff with the interiors. But I want to do like a bigger interior. I'll switch and use Warlock tiles. And aesthetically, it looks a little different. But, you know, it's a game of imagination. So we're good with that. In here, we have some, I don't know where this stuff is from. I've had it for so long, but some resin pieces, furniture. These are all resin printed. The two beds were resin printed and painted by me. Everything was painted by me other than some of the miniatures, and actually most of the miniatures, the spider miniatures and stuff, exceptional one, was not painted, were not painted by me. The rest of them are just plastic toy spiders or WizKids pre-painted ones. The spider nests are old terrain that I made. I got this idea off some YouTube video that I cannot even remember. But they're not bad. Early attempts at making terrain, but using a dry lint sheet and some, I think they're plastic BBs to an airsoft gun I made the eggs out of, which you can't really see that well through that stuff. You can more in this bigger piece, I guess. I don't know if they'll come up on camera. A little bit, maybe you can see the eggs in there. But they work pretty good. I hadn't used them in a while, so it was nice to bust them out. Yeah, and like I said, these things are just... I bought like a big bag full of these things at our Halloween store during Halloween time a year or so ago, or maybe even longer than that. And then these ones are just the WizKids spider swarms, which I really like. I have a bunch of them. And I like using the natural I say, monsters and stuff. I really like using spiders and stuff like that. I don't know why. They're just favorites of mine. What else? Anything else on this board? That's about it on this board. Like I said, it's just 3D printed stuff, resin stuff, and then Warlock tiles. Then we have this. This one's a little different. So the bulk of this is all made from Herstart's molds. And what happened, how it came about was the first thing I started making was this, or putting together. And when I started putting that together, to be honest, I just wasn't in the mood. I was going to do more of like a big basement build with either Dwarven Forge stuff or probably Dwarven Forge stuff. I don't have basement or stone Warlock tile stuff, so. But to be honest, I just didn't feel like putting that together. Sometimes I get that way. I mean, I have tons of miniatures in terrain. I mean, you can just look around, like all those totes, almost all those totes are filled with Dwarven Forge. Some of it's got miniatures, pre-painted miniatures, and then I have, you know, terrain over here. I have a lot of terrain, but the benefit to that is I have options. So I'm lucky to have these options, and this is so I got thinking about it. And a long time ago, well before I got into Dwarven Forge and such, I started making just dungeon floor tiles, and they're on MDF board and using Hearst Arts molds. That was the first terrain stuff I got into, was Hearst Arts molds. Thanks to my friend Carl, who was already doing that stuff. And I was always kind of interested in those molds, but I wasn't sure I was going to be able to figure out how to mix the powder right and all that stuff. But I took the plunge, and for a while there, I was making a lot of stuff out of Hearst Arts molds. I was casting a lot of blocks. So these are super simple. I'd never used them quite this way. I wanted some walls, so I just took these floor pieces and flipped them up and made walls. But all this stuff is Hearst Arts molds. These two pieces, this piece here and this piece here, are more recent builds. I got bored one time and was chatting with my friend Andy, who's a follower of the channel, and I started making these, and I made this piece. I think this was my second piece, but again, I had a bunch of these tiles cut, so I just made a wall section. I saw a really cool, I wish I could remember it, there was a video, and their stuff was 3D printed, but it was a whole dungeon kind of laid out this way, where you had not full walls like Warlock tiles or Dwarven Forge, but just enough to give you the impression. And it looked great. Like, it looked awesome. Like, it was really big. I got to find that video again, at least save it or somehow share it, because it was really good. And then I made this bigger piece. This is on a bigger piece, and I put like a sewer grate in there. I'll move this guy. And I put a sewer grate in there, and this is some resin stuff that I just bought and painted. Some of that's painted, some of it I bought that way. Here's another WizKid spider. I've gotten a ton of them. I got a bunch of these guys. And are they aesthetically the best looking spider in the world? No, but I have got a ton of mileage out of those guys. And some more cask and stuff. Some of them are pre-painted. Some of them are eye painted. They're WizKid stuff. But I just threw this basement together real quick. And the benefit of it, it was real quick. It was super easy to throw up. It looks pretty cool. Actually got me in the mood to make some more stuff like this. Like, I really like the look of this, like, I really like it. And it's super, it's super easy just to throw together real quick. I mean, Dwarven Forge is too, but sometimes you want just a little bit different look. At least I do. I have a ton of Dwarven Forge. Like, I can't complain about that. But every once in a while, I want just a little look, and I don't feel like doing a big, complicated build. So this was real simple. And I got to talk about this piece, of course. This is the first time I got to use this. This is a 3D print that my buddy Andy actually printed up and sent to me. And I painted it up, and I finally got to use it, Andy. It worked great. I needed a stairwell, and this was a perfect fit. Oh, actually, it'd help if I got it on camera. God, what a hack. But it worked great. They came down this way, went through, worked awesome. Thanks, Andy. That was great. I'm glad I finally got to use it. And these two pieces, they've been sitting around ever since I built them. And I think Andy's probably the only one that's seen them, because I sent him pictures. And but I finally got to use them. So yeah, that was the terrain for this session. Pretty simple setup. Like, some of this stuff on this board had actually been set up because I was messing around with just playing around with ruined buildings. I got that big tower that I got from Thunderstruck Workshop. Mike printed that up, did a great job. And if you need 3D printed stuff, he has a really good shop, Thunderstruck Workshop. Good guy. But I was just messing around after I painted it with doing a little mini, like, Mordheim table, because I love Mordheim. Even though I've never played it, I just love it, the setting. But yeah, that was the terrain for session 70. If you have any questions about any of this, how I either painted stuff, made stuff, or some of this stuff I have no idea what shop I got it from. It's so old, but like those two buildings over there, I've had them for so long. I don't remember where I bought them. I was off Etsy. But yeah, if you have any questions, please. Love to hear them. Love to talk about the hobby and building, painting stuff. So yeah, thanks for watching.